Christianity and Politics, a 4-part story, focusing on Marcus Borg's convictions. Episode 3, Jesus and Paul, Challenging the Heart of the Empire. Today, we will look at how Jesus and the early church inherited this vision and challenged the Roman Empire, the most powerful ruling system of the time. Jesus and the early Christians lived under Roman exploitation. Against this background, Jesus proclaimed that the kingdom of God was near. The core of this gospel of the kingdom of God was to transform this world from exploitation and violence so that everyone could live a sufficient life. The prayer for daily bread in the Lord's Prayer comes right after the prayer for the kingdom of heaven to come to this earth, which shows that the kingdom of God is exactly where economic exploitation and violence come to an end. The Apostle Paul also proclaimed, "Jesus is Lord." At that time, the title Kyrios, meaning Lord, was the key title for the Roman emperor. Paul's proclamation of Jesus as Lord was a political challenge that Caesar is not Lord. The book of Revelation describes the Roman Empire as the beast in Babylon, and depicting the confrontation between Christ and Caesar is in the same context. This does not just mean two loyalties, but two fundamentally different ways of organizing the world. In other words, a confrontation between the way of the empire, ruling with exploitation and violence, and the way of God, overflowing with justice and peace. Now let's look at the 3 misunderstood Bible passages that we briefly touched on in Episode 1, reinterpret them through Marcus Borg's perspective, and complete our understanding. Let's start with Mark 12:17. Render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's. Let's think about this passage first. Jesus asked to be shown a Roman coin, and on that coin was the image of the emperor, which the law forbade. Jesus' words should be interpreted as a radical statement. Give this idolized coin back to Caesar, and proclaim that everything belongs to God. If the earth and everything in it belong to God, it means we have nothing to give to Caesar. In John 18:36, Jesus said, "My kingdom is not of this world." These words do not mean a kingdom that exists only in heaven. The following verse, "If my kingdom were of this world, my servants would fight to prevent my arrest," clearly shows that the difference between Jesus' kingdom and earthly empires lies in the use of violence. This is a declaration that Jesus' way of ruling is fundamentally different from the violent ways of the world. The words of Romans 13:1, "Let every person be subject to the governing authorities," also need to be reinterpreted. This passage does not mean unconditional obedience to power. We must remember the fact that Paul was eventually executed by the imperial authorities. Borg argues that this passage should be translated in the sense of nonviolent resistance, not to violently resist government authorities. If we read the Bible seriously, we must also take political issues seriously. The message of the Bible, from beginning to end, passionately supports a different kind of world right here on this earth. Thank you for being with us today.